Boomers created the major institutions, banks, corporations, and government. Millennials developed personal brands, turning identity into influence. Gen Z, they create algorithms and understand platforms inside out. But here's what gets missed. Generation X built the very system everyone now uses. They created the early internet. They scaled the tech companies. They designed the digital workplace. They're the operating system generation. Not the loudest, not the most discussed, but without them, nothing functions. Generation X grew up with landlines and cassette tapes. Calling a friend meant using the house phone and hoping their parents didn't pick up. No internet existed, no Google, no social media. Then everything flipped. They didn't just use the internet, they adapted to it. They helped build early tech companies. They learned computers when it was complex. They switched from paper files to digital. They trained millennials at work. And now they manage Gen Z teams. They're the only generation that speaks both old and new. They get how the physical world works, and they understand how systems grow in the digital age. They know what it means to lack, and they understand speed. That mix is unusual. Generation X views attention differently. They don't put their whole lives online. They don't constantly promote themselves. They aren't looking for approval. Why? Because they grew up before everything was measured. No likes existed, no follower counts, no pressure to go viral. You did the work, and that was enough. Praise was nice, but not the main thing. So their way of thinking became work first, praise is optional, and that changes how they operate. They're usually steady leaders, calm when things get crazy. They don't jump on trends easily. They don't need applause to stay going. They just keep producing. Generation X has seen a lot. They grew up during the Cold War, when nuclear fear felt real. They became adults during recessions. They watched the dot-com bubble burst, and many were well into their careers when the 2008 crash happened. So when a crisis comes up now, they don't freak out. They adjust. Gen X doesn't react fast and emotional. They reset. They've learned that systems crash, markets fall, and companies change. That's not a shock to them. It's unlike other generations. Boomers often trusted big institutions. Millennials often tie their job to who they are. Gen Z moves at digital speed. Gen X? They stay steady. They prepare, adapt, and keep moving. Generation X isn't all over social media, not because they don't understand it, but because they get something deeper. Attention is valuable and shouldn't be wasted. They see oversharing as risky. They see digital footprints as a loss of control. And they know public opinions can stick around forever. So they move quietly. They watch, they observe, they choose when to speak up. And here's what's interesting. In today's world, the loudest aren't always the most powerful. Sometimes the quiet ones have more control. That's not fear, that's strategy. Generation X started working young, delivering newspapers early, bagging groceries, working fast food before things were automated. They adjust, they absorb the hit, and they keep things going. That's power, even when quiet. If this made you think about Generation X differently, subscribe and stick with me for the next breakdown.